Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the GMS number Pr12 SC26D KD profile cylinder, thumb turn on the inside, 5-pin and a Schl C keyway. Let's take a look at this item, and we'll just dissect the part number as well. Okay. So this is what's called a profile cylinder. It's going to fit into the lock literally upside down. Well, by our standards, upside down. The teeth will be in the inverted position. Okay. That will allow you to rotate that lock. This is a 5-pin C keyway. It is drilled 5. It is pinned 5. Profile cylinders. I don't know what the word profile stands for necessarily. Very much known in here in the United States as a European cylinder. Many locks, non-American in origin, feature a profile cylinder. I don't know why. They sure do provide the ability to install keyed cylinders into very narrow backset locks. Not a lot happening here. You do this keyhole preparation in your lock body. You can slide it right in. Then the screw from the edge of the door will literally thread into this tapped hole, and that's how the cylinder stays in place. This is a single cylinder that will have a thumb turn on the inside. It's a nice large thumb turn, in fact. Okay, solid brass construction, satin chrome finish, and the Pr12 tells us that it is a double profile cylinder with a thumb turn. So double profile meaning you can make these locks where they're just a half of a lock, okay, for one side only. Double obviously means profiles on both sides. A cylinder on the interior side would be not unheard of. A thumb turn would be not unheard of as well. You might have a cylinder on the inside for the purposes of, or the logic of, well, your door's got a big piece of glass in it, and I don't want someone to and then get in. The other reason you might have a cylinder on the inside is you don't want people to get out, in the sense that you don't want your toddler to get out by just pulling on the handle, and now all of a sudden the door's open. You see where that's going. The downside of this type of lock, according to American opinion, is that the Bible, this portion here, that's what that's called, its springs and its driver pins are all, and the weight of the bottom pins are all, and any master pins, are all resting on those springs. I can tell you that over time those springs are going to fatigue, where all of a sudden now the springs aren't being pushed back up so that you can operate the cylinder, and given enough time, those springs will fatigue. They're meant to be installed this way so that the weight of the pins do not fatigue the springs. However, that's the way that these are manufactured, and that's just how that's going to be. Repinning these is less than joyous, because you have to remove those set screws that are there. And what I don't like about repinning these is that you're working it blind. You have to drop a pin, test, put a driver pin, and then your spring, and hold it down and test your Glad it wasn't glass. Then test your operation. Make sure that it works. And that's the one thing that I don't really love about this material. It's not difficult to pin, but at the same time, it just takes longer to do so. Okay, it does include the screw to hold it onto the edge of the door. That screw will literally go through the edge of the door and into the lock body, is what keeps that from being pushed in. To remove it, you would loosen the screw or just remove it, bring the cam lobe, flush to the body, and then you can push it straight out. Before you just order a profile cylinder, it should be said that the length of each side is not universal. About 1 1/8 inches, obviously about 1 1/8 inches. Okay. GMS does not have any options in terms of the sizes of this material. They do list the Pr12 as being 3 7/8 overall length, and they show you the body at 2 3/4 overall length. So we're really not able to accurately measure that 2.74. Now, it's from the face of the cylinder. Sure, so we can. So what you need to do is to be mindful that that's what you're dealing with, which means your lock preparation may not be in the center of the door, and it may not require a balanced construction of lock body. There are, you can buy this type of lock body with a longer or shorter end on one or both sides, so be mindful of that. Also, what you need to know is the location of the lobe in this sort of degree. That's going to be at the, I'm not sure if it might be called the 5 o'clock position. Not every lock takes that lobe in that same location. Not every lock is compatible with this exact construction. So be mindful of that. They do show it to you turned upside down. They're never installed that way. At least I've never seen them installed that way. The way that they show it in the catalog, I think that's just, who presented those images did so maybe for convenience. I would have flipped them over because you never see them installed that way. Again, solid brass construction, removable pin chamber set screws for easy rekeying. It is an advantage to have these set screws in there because you can't just easily drive them out. If I were to have a standard cylinder construction with a brass spring cover, I could take what's called a comb attack and drive those out and just break all that out, but not so with drilled and tapped set screws. That's actually a hallmark of high security cylinders. Nothing high security about this. It's just the method of construction that is conducive to a good principle of operation. 3 configurations available: one-sided, double cylinder, single cylinder with a thumb turn. Drilled 5, pinned 5. There are 5 chambers. There are 5 cuts on this Schl C keyway, probably the second most common keyway ever of all time, right behind the Kwikset keyway. On page 2 of the document is a handy document because it will show you what all of the parts look like. Now, I don't get into pulling those C-clips off when I repin these. I wouldn't bother doing that. I would just top load it, or in this case, it's top loading, but it's really from the bottom. How to order profile cylinders, the 3 types. You've got 6 different keyways. Arrow 1176, that's just your regular Arrow 5-pin. Corbin 60, that keyway is incredibly old. Corbin 60 has probably been available since World War II, if not earlier. Kwikset 1179, that's probably the most common keyway of all time. Then, of course, the ubiquitous Schl C, a Weiser E, and a Yale 8. Very old keyways, very synonymous with residential applications. You can do it in satin chrome like this one, or you can do it in a satin brass, which would be the 4 finish. And then you can specify keying. This should just be simply a KD, and the part number KD is indeed on that box. Okay. Now, in terms of the keying, you can order them any way you want. You can even do special keying, master keying, grandmaster keying, should you want any of that. Maison keying can be done as well, should that ever need to be done. Where you're going to see this cylinder is a residential swinging door, is where you're going to see it. The patio doors on the back of a home, very common, very typical. People will order these because the locks that they have on the house are not this keyway, and they cannot order the Schl C keyway because they've got Baldwin locks. And the manufacturer of the patio doors shipped out whatever they had. No one asked the question, no one specified a particular keyway, and luckily you can get the keyway that you want, hopefully, if it's one of those 6, to match the other requirements. I'm sure this client's going to take this cylinder once they get it, then have it rekeyed to their to the rest of the property, and happily continue on with life with cylinders that are all keyed alike. Okay. Finally, below this video, there is a link to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the GMS products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the GMS, Pr12, or any other GMS product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.